Reason we're having this meeting is because I have franchise owners across the country who can't recruit. Most companies like mine have no agents working for them at all. Okay. And we've got a lot of agents who work for us in our home office market, but my offices across the country can't figure out how we got there. So for me, it's a focus group. They said after coming here for in-person training, they're like, look, we want to learn how you do it because we can't do it. We want you to talk to people who are not doing it your way and who don't necessarily believe in it. And we want them to bust your chops and see what happens. And that would be beneficial for them. But for you guys, you're probably dealing with companies like mine in your market. So it'd probably be beneficial to you because I'm going to show you everything that we do. Okay. So I'm going to give you a very brief backstory on 1% lists and why it exists. I had a job as a basketball coach and a substitute teacher. My wife was just out of the military. She was in nursing school. We hired an agent to sell our house. She demanded her 6%. My neighbor was under contract for 5%. I'd never sold a house before, so I didn't know the difference. And I asked her, I said, why are they 5% and you 6%? And I'll never forget, she said, you can pay me less, I'll do less marketing. Okay. It's basically, I'm going to punish you. Okay. I can remember where I was when the universe hit me in the brain and said, call your agent. And I did. And she was showing houses in my neighborhood. And I asked her, why aren't you showing mine? And she said, well, they want a 3-car garage. And I said, well, I have an awesome media room and I'm on the golf course. Please just show it. And she eventually caved and showed it. And they wrote an offer. My agent was not present when I signed that contract. Some assistant was that didn't know my name and I didn't know who she was. Okay. Got to a closing. I paid her both sides of 6%. And I feel like I've been robbed. So I got into real estate after we moved. And so did my wife, thinking that if the #1 top producer making tons of money treated us this way, I was going to do great. All I had to do was care about my people. Not true. Being a top producer does not mean you're a great agent. Doesn't mean you're a good person. Doesn't mean you like your people. It just means you make a lot of money. That's what being a top producer means. And that left a bad taste in our mouth. We came in as disgruntled public, and then we were trained to say and think and do a lot of those same things. Okay. So I'm guessing if I ask you guys a question, do you know a top producer in your market that you feel is sleazy and their heart is in the wrong place and they're awful people, or at least not really good, but they make a lot of money and they are icons of their industry? Everybody know somebody? Yeah. Hi. I did one deal my first real estate year. Worked my butt off. I put out trick-or-treat bags. I door knocked, I cold called. I did open houses. I sat in rich people's expensive houses full of art at art shows in houses to try to meet clients. I did it all. Nothing worked. I finally got a listing, which was a relocation deal. I talked them into paying me 8%. The relocation company talked me down to 7%. Once I paid the relocation company and once I paid my broker, I made less than 1%. Okay. I felt like I'd been screwed. I felt like I was making everybody rich. Okay. My ultimate allegiance when I started was the clients, not the real estate industry. After doing my first deal and making less than 1%, I felt like my heart was in the wrong place because I'm talking somebody into paying me more money so I can pay more fees. I didn't like it. Okay. So I switched to a company that put me on a 90-10 split. I went from charging 3 down to charging 1.5. I chased every builder in my market, and I went from a starving realtor to a top producer making tons of money almost immediately. Over the next 3 years, my life was better. My quality of life was better. My home life was better. Everybody's happier. My clients were thrilled. And I turned all the new construction business into a huge book of listings and happy clients in a growing sphere. And it started working too well, even though I was keeping it quiet. It was word of mouth only. And all the realtors told me I'm bad for the industry. And I asked myself, how can this be great for me, great for my family, and great for my clients, but awful for the industry? Doesn't make sense to me. So I realized I am anti-industry, but I am very pro-realtor. Anybody got any questions or want to push back on anything so far? Nope. Okay. I do not understand why agents are expected to outwork or outspend their peers to get ahead, but are shamed for saving money for their clients to get deals. I don't get that. Why is it socially acceptable to pay Zillow, but it's not socially acceptable to charge less money to get leads? That is anti-client and anti-realtor. You're dooming us to spend more money and you're dooming our clients to higher fees. Okay. Why do agents fight over relocation deals that take 45% referral fees, but they know their worth and will not devalue themselves by charging a lower fee of their client? I do not understand why it's acceptable to pit a lender against another lender to crush their interest rates and kill their commissions, but our commissions are sacred. I think that many in our industry do not have their priorities straight. Does anybody want to push back on anything I'm saying? Anybody disagree? So I was speaking to a friend in the industry last night, pretty late, and he said he believes deep down most agents agree with me, but where they get stuck is they think they're going to work harder for less money. I believe that pretty much agents only move because they think they will make more money. Do you guys want to disagree with that? For the most part, some agents move for different reasons, but for the most part, I think they would make more money. Right? Agents only do a certain amount of deals. Typically, they have like, I'm a 6 to 9 deal a year kind of agent. That's where they are. So their idea of making more money is, let me go to a place that'll give me a better split and better cap so I can milk more out of this. Okay. Ironically, these agents are basically saying, I want to find a brokerage with better splits and caps so I can keep more of my money. We had an agent join in Baton Rouge 2 days ago who literally said, I just need to find out how to keep more of my money. She said that to me the day before she joined my company. And I said, no, you don't. You need to figure out how to make more money. And she's like, okay, I get it now. And I told her, I said, do you think anybody working any other job in the world is sitting there saying, how much am I getting paid to run these copies? How much am I getting paid for greeting people at Walmart? How much am I getting paid to hand somebody a Louis bag at Nordstrom's? No. What do I make per month? What do I make per year? And am I happy with my job? That's it. When the public says, I want to find a realtor that's just as good, but charges lower fees so I can keep more of my equity, they are horrible and they get what they pay for. I changed one word, and that word was equity and commissions. Realtors are 100% on board to 100% against it by changing one word. Anybody want to push back? Agents shift from brokerage to brokerage because they are the brand. If you have an office with 400 agents, those agents, you'll have 400 brands at that office. Nobody has ever hired a brokerage. They've always hired an agent. Nobody's ever said, oh, I hired this company, this real estate company to sell my house. I hired Jeff Johnston. Tell me about Jeff Johnson. Who's he work for? Shit, I don't know, but I like him. He came through my door. He's freaking awesome. He's smart, and he knows what the hell he's doing. And he could change brokerages today, and I don't care as long as I get to keep Jeff. Right?
Right.
So agents can bounce back and forth all over the place. And agents will adopt these cute slogans, and they'll go in real estate mastermind saying which headshot is best. And they got black backgrounds and cursive letters that people can't read. And this is their brand. This is what's going to push them business. The only problem is they're all the same. Okay. They have nothing else to push. Okay. So would you be shocked that my entire marketing strategy revolves around convincing the world that I exist? No?
That makes sense.
So the public believes more or less that every agent is charging the same fees to do the same things. Now, I believe there are, to put it in car terms, there's Mercedes-Benz agents that compete with me on a daily basis. Sometimes they beat me, sometimes I beat them, but they do not feel like they are threatened by me. The ones that feel like they are threatened by me are the agents that are Hyundais posing as Mercedes-Benzes. Okay? Because they can't back up what they're saying. They don't really have it. I don't have a problem with an agent that charges 6 or 7% because they are a Mercedes. Okay. I have a problem with the Chevy that thinks it's a Mercedes because it's not. Okay. The moment that agents come into being, they are told that they are Mercedes. Brand new agent is a Mercedes. So if you can imagine all these agents, which by the way, there's a Groupon in my state, get your real estate license in 2 weeks for $250. Okay. There's a Groupon for that right now. Okay. So imagine all 2 million agents are ducks. The moment they hatch, they all run in the pond with all the other ducks and they all try to be the cutest duck in the pond. Okay. You love me. You love me. I'm the best duck. Didn't you remember that birthday card, the pumpkin pie recipe, and the football schedule? You love me. You love me. I have no differentiating factor. You have to love me. Or I have to annoy you until I'm like an earworm. I'm like freaking Rick Astley from the 80s. I'm stuck in your head. Okay. That's why you're going to hire me. Okay. I am not a duck. My agents are not ducks. We're trained to be annoying, loud, honking geese to get you to look at us. When you go on social media and tell everybody we suck, we appreciate it. All right, because you're making people look at me. Okay. If you notice, most social media posts, the public's on my side. The realtors are fighting it out with my agents and the public. It's just a fact. Go look around. Okay. Companies like mine are not growing around the country because they are geese. They choose to be geese. They choose the value proposition, and then they go hide in the pond with the ducks. Okay. Anybody want to disagree with anything I'm saying so far?
Pretty hard to disagree with so far.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask
Yes,
a
ma'am.
question? So I'm just curious how, and maybe you'll get to this. If the whole Mercedes and Chevy example, so are you saying that you are a Chevy and you're pricing yourself accordingly, or are you saying you're a Mercedes and you're just willing to price yourself like a Chevy?
I'm not saying either one of those things because just like every other brokerage, I've got some Mercedes and I've got some Chevys. Okay.
Okay.
Just like at your brokerage, you probably got some Mercedes and some Chevys.
Sure.
The only difference is if you hire my Mercedes, you're paying a Chevy price. But if you hire my Chevy, you're paying a Chevy price.
Got it.
Got it? Okay.
Okay.
And I'm going to go tap more into that later about what I think makes a Mercedes. Okay. So if I can show you a way to charge less money and make more money, are you interested? Now, neither one of y'all can even join my company. Y'all are in different states. Okay. But hypothetically, pretend you're here. If I could show you how to make more money, charge less money, would you be interested? Or are you morally opposed to what I do? What percentage of agents do you think is morally opposed to what I do?
Say about 30.
Deborah's thinking.
I'd say about
I don't
30.
know. I think a lot of them, I think about 95% will communicate that they're against it because that's what we
But
are.
why do agents move? We're going to get to that in a minute. Why do agents move? I'm going to make more money. So if I can prove to them that they're going to make more money, if I can show it to them, like prove to them just like gravity is real, you're going to make more money if you switch to my brokerage. I think probably the majority of the real estate industry would still not come on board.
Mhm.
They would not come on board until they felt the fear of dealing with me in their market. Then they will come on board. Okay. But until then, no shot. So if I'm selling franchise locations across country and if agents are joining and not leaving, then obviously there must be something to it. And somehow agents are making more money. Somehow. Is that possible? Yes. So simple economics. If you started charging 10% to list a house, you would be getting almost no listings, if none at all. But if you started listing them for free, you would get a ton of listings. Is that fair to say? Anybody want to disagree with that? Okay. So the answer to every problem in real estate is get more listings. If you want more listings, more buyers, more money, better work-life balance, weekends off, you want to, build a better foundation for your career. I don't care what the hell you want to do in real estate. If it's positive, you'll get more listings. Everybody agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So basically what we have is a loss leader. That's a term in retail, and I'm going to explain to you what that is. A loss leader is a term used in retail that gets you, it's an item that you sell that gets you foot traffic. Okay. And it allows you to sell higher margin items. I could use Walmart getting into selling groceries, even though they don't make money off groceries, just so they can sell you a TV while you're buying groceries. Oh, come buy razor blades from me and I'll just give you these eggs. I could use my house as an example. We got a new tub installed and I flooded our house. My 7-year-old daughter ran inside and said, "Why is there water in the living room?" And I was like, holy cow. ServPro showed up to my house at 11 o'clock that night and had a dude there for 3 hours with 4 dehumidifiers and all this stuff. And my wife looked at me and said, "There's no way they can do this for $500. And I said, "No, they're probably losing money at $500. They want me to sign a contract to do the renovation while they're here." This is a loss leader. Everybody understand what a loss leader is, basically. Okay. So we use listings as loss leaders, even though we make a ton of money on listings. Okay. We don't look at listings as a way as revenue, even though it's great revenue. We look at we look at listings as a loss leader that's going to open up doors for us. That's all it's doing. Increase my sphere. If my pipeline becomes this big because I have 1 million listings, then I'm going to make more money. I don't know how, but I know I'm going to make more money. That was my faith when I started the company. Okay. I have agents that have never had an $800,000 deal before. All their deals were 200. And now they're like, I got an $800,000 deal and I don't know what to do with it. And I was like, how'd you get it? And they're like, they reached out to me. Why? Because of the loss leader. Okay. Our listings generate more listings, but they generate the buyers that people want. They're not generating the Zillow buyer, because I believe every buyer on Zillow knows 10 realtors. So you know they're disloyal. We're generating listings, and those listings, once we convert them, are going to buy somewhere. I might refer them out, or they might buy here locally. Okay. But no matter what, listings are that's going to happen off of the listing. So getting the listings is key. But even more so, buyers are running around looking at houses, and 7 out of 10 of them need to sell in order to buy. So guess who they hire when they come across our signs? Us. Guess what we then get to do? Keep our listing, list another house, and then have another buyer. Okay. So listings just create a ton of opportunities. Okay. So how do we turn our agents into listing machines? Okay. We provide free graphic design services for all of our realtors across the country and our franchise owners. We are making their content nonstop. Okay. And I'll show you an example of some of our content, but we are nonstop making content because our agents need to rally around a brand and rally around a value proposition. Our agents are not rallying around their logo. Okay. Our agents are rallying around this kind of stuff. Just list it. Imagine you're reading a piece of paper. What's the first thing you see at top left-hand corner of the page? My logo, 1% list. If you're a homeowner and you see 1% list, you know what it means. Here's another just listed. Here's another just sold. Seller saved $13,125 versus 6% commission. We push this content nonstop. Nonstop, we're pushing this kind of content. Okay. So every time we put a sign in the ground, there's multiple social media shares that are perfectly branded coming out from all of our agents that we create for them for free. Okay. We create them through, our intranet, tackle box, all that kind of stuff. But basically, we're just creating them a ton of free content. We have voice actors that do listing presentations. We have voice actors that create FSBO conversion videos. You name it, we do it. Okay. And it's all free. To the public, our brand seems huge because if we have an office of 30 agents doing a lot of deals, all their marketing content will look the same. If you have an office of 400 agents, all their content will look different. Okay, so we are different in that regard. We look huge, even though we might not be quite as big as we think. Now, we're the 5th biggest brokerage in Greater New Orleans by volume when you combine our offices. So we're big, but there's a lot of people bigger. They just look smaller. Okay. My top producing rookie last year did 63 deals. She had 38 listings and 28 buyers. She quit her job at the school board in March, and then she got hit by Hurricane Ida in the fall. Still did 63 deals. Okay. Typical agent in my market's doing about 5 deals, making about 2.5 per deal. My rookie agent made 1.7% 63 times without an office to go to. 1.7, 63 times. No office, no Zillow leads, no nothing. Just a sphere of influence and a value proposition. And I can show you lots of agents that have immediate and massive success. Her conversion rate on listings was 100%. Mine is 99. Okay, that's accurate. 99. I didn't get 2 in my entire career. I can tell you exactly which ones they were. One of them was an 80-something-year-old man who couldn't understand the technology aspect. The other one was because an agent promised somebody they'd get way more money, and they did. Okay, so I want to pitch you to list your house. Has anybody got any questions before I do?
No.
Jeff?
No, sir.
Pretty much every agent at my office uses the same listing presentation. Okay, and this is it. It's all fact-based. Feel free to Google any of these things. There's only 6 ways that houses sell. I'm going to give you the 6 ways that they sell and the odds of generating a sale from each one. Okay. First thing that every agent's going to do is put a sign in the ground. That gives you a 7% chance of generating a sale, which means a neighbor sees it, somebody drives by and sees the sign. Next thing, after we do paperwork, professional photography, you're going to go on the MLS. That accounts for 33% of all sales, which means realtors only find a house for their client about 1 out of 3 times. All the other times the client finds the house, says, hey, I found a house, realtor, please come show it to me. 44% of all sales come from the internet data exchange. That's what takes a copy of everything on the MLS and puts it around every website in the entire world. Keller Williams, Remax, EXP, Zillow, Trulia, all of them. You combine all of those, that's 84% of all sales that I cannot influence, period. And I tell every listing this. I cannot, you could write for sale on an Amazon box and it technically has the same amount of influence as my sign. I have no sway legally over the MLS, and Zillow can't even control Zillow, much less me. Okay. And they say, okay, we get it. So they realize they're not hiring me for marketing. Okay. 14% of all sales. This is the big one that realtors can influence. How big is your network and how much social media marketing do you do? So if I'm competing with Dorothy from one of these old legacy brokerages, okay, ask yourself, who's going to be better at Instagram and social media marketing? Is it me or Dorothy? Okay. And they kind of laugh, but I tell them that little joke. If you get all 14% of that, that puts you at 98. Broker tours, open houses, print media accounts for the final 2%, which they are shocked about. But I tell them, please look at your spouse and say, honey, we have to move today. I'm going to need you to go to the coffee shop and get a magazine. I'm going to go drive around looking for balloons. They literally start laughing. Okay. I asked them, COVID-19 banned open houses. How did we have the greatest sellers market in history? Please look at this Homes and Land magazine and look at this huge picture of an agent and these little bitty pictures of houses. What's being marketed to you? And they're like, yeah, we don't use newspapers. 75-year-old client that I listed his house is like, oh yeah, I already found a house in Zillow I want. If I ask you guys are supposed to be marketing experts. If I ask you what percentage of Generation X and millennials shop online for real estate as their primary source, what do you think that number is? It's a stat. NAR puts it out. It's called Real Estate in the Digital Age.
78%.
Deborah?
Yeah, I was gonna say like between 79 and 83%, something like that.
99 point something. Generation
Oh, wow.
X and millennial. Baby boomers is 97. The silent generation, the people born right around the time that Hitler was around, almost 3 out of 4 shop online for real estate if they're still around. They're on their iPads with big, huge fonts. Okay. So basically the internet is changing everything. And so what I tell them is this: at the very end, I show them how much money we're going to save them. I show them what we do. I show them our growth. At the very end, I tell them the final page of truth, which is this: the number one thing that's going to make your house sell or not sell is price. The number 2 thing is amenities, condition, and location. If that's great, the price goes up. If it's not, the price goes down. If you got a great house in a great location, you do not need to pay 6%. Zillow is basically Tinder for houses. Somebody's going to swipe the right way on your house. They're going to want to see it, okay? Because it looks awesome. If you got a house with an AC that's in bad shape and you're almost upside down, you need to use my savings as a tool to get your house sold, okay? When your roof that's 20 years old needs to be replaced, and if I'm saving you 15 grand, we can get over that hurdle. If you're paying 6%, you probably can't. Finally, the last thing that'll make your house sell: buyer incentive and agent incentives. Somebody shows the house, says, I love it, but I just hate the color. Let me offer a painting allowance with an acceptable offer. We just brought an offer out of nowhere. But if after all this and you're interviewing other agents, you think 6% makes sense, pay me 1% and pay the buyer's agent 5%. They will line up down the street to sell your house. They will push your house like no other because they are going to get paid more. So if you think 6% works, let's do it. Just pay me my 1% and I'm happy. You know what they say? Holy cow, you're just here to help. And I'm like, right, I'm here to help you. Now, where are you moving? I would like to help you find a house once we get your house under contract. Anybody want to tear apart my listing presentation and find the flaws?
No, I basically just want to steal it. At least the Tenderloin.
Tenderloin's good. I like it. It plays well with our demographic.
So, off topic, and you can just tell me to shut up. Is Redfin in your market? I'm sure they are. Is Redfin in your market?
Yeah.
Okay.
We tear them up. You want to know why?
I figured.
The reason why is because I think, and I'm a contributor on Inman, and I wrote an article about this. It's called The False Choices of the Commission Crunch. Agents believe that there's only 2 choices in the world. Either be, high fee agents that are getting better splits, better caps, better value prop from a company like EXP, which I get, I totally understand. Or they're going to go work and have a salary and make pennies. I believe that if you have a better value proposition, you can leverage it to make more money in pure commission than you ever have before. That's what makes me different than Redfin and Homie. If I see a top producing Redfin agent, I'm going to call them and say, would you like to make more money?
Right.
I think Redfin, homie, they have the right business model, but the problem is as soon as you offer an agent a salary, I'm not saying that they're all like this, because there's a lot of agents out there. I believe the number one reason agents are afraid of this model is because they think the service is going to suffer. Okay. And because agents equate discount with quality. If you win a free Louis Vuitton, is it worthless, Deborah? You're gonna throw it in the trash? Heck no, you're gonna like it. Okay. Okay. There's a difference between quality and price. Okay. So at the end of the day, I think most agents that they get in the industry because they want to really service clients and everything else. They just have to get over the money part. So if I
also feel like agents are super opportunistic.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of agents who feel like if I market myself, like they always want the opportunity, right, to make the 6% if somebody's willing. So they don't want to market that they'll take 1, because if they go and meet a seller or they're referred to somebody and that person is willing to do 6%, they want to take it. So they can't make themselves do that across the board, no matter what.
Yes. And an amazing thing happened. The moment I stopped being concerned about that and started being concerned about my clients' well-being, I made more money than I've ever made before in my life. And it continues to grow ever faster. Okay. And look, it's just simply about, and I tell realtors this all the time, stop asking other realtors what they think about you. Start asking the public. Please go on my social media feed and look at the public fighting with the realtor. Now, sure, my realtors are in there mixing it up too, but the public is on our side, which is why I say respectfully, I love realtors. I disagree with the industry, but I love realtors. But push comes to shove, if I got to pick, I'm picking my clients. Y'all can go kick rocks. Y'all not hiring me to do anything. Okay. So does anybody else want to tear apart the listing presentation or anything else? It's not pushy. It's not marketing. It feels like if you had to say a word, it would probably be truth.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong there. I think a general tear apart from an agent is they think that that's all they're going to make is the 1% on that. And they're not seeing the bigger picture that Deborah just
They're not entrepreneurs.
No.
Okay. So if Elon Musk got into real estate, who thinks he would start charging 6% and doing the same thing as everybody else? No.
Nope.
Okay. So realtors are not entrepreneurs. In fact, I think the first thing that every entrepreneur and business owner should do, I think Apple does this. In fact, I'm sure of it. When they're going to release a new iPhone, how much does it cost to make it? What are we going to have to spend to market it? What do we need to charge to maximize our money? And if that's selling a ton of them, and that's going to be more profitable than selling 5, then they're going to sell a ton of them. They just are. You know, and so from that standpoint, I think as soon as every realtor gets in the industry and they're told this is what you charge and this is how you think, they're literally getting the entrepreneur beat right out of them. I feel that way. I felt like I was.
Well, I also think there's that scarcity mindset, right? Where if a realtor is used to doing 10 deals a year and they're like, okay, if I go from making 3% to 1% and I still only get 10 deals, I just killed myself, right? Like in financially, they're thinking that they're not going to get more. And then, yeah, I feel like they're like, oh, well, now I need, 30 deals a year just to break even. And if it's been that hard for them to get 10 deals, they're probably thinking, what kind of mountain am I going to be climbing to get 30?
Yes. So let me push back on that for a second.
Yep.
Do you think my realtors go through burnout? I had a realtor that did 103 deals solo last year.
Yeah.
You think she's burnt? Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit, some degree. But what do you think is number one reason agents go through burnout?
Chasing deals, chasing leads.
Yeah.
I think that's number one.
Do you think nurses go through burnout because they're like, oh my gosh, I'm just tired of healing people? No, that's why they got into it. They go through burnout because they sit behind a desk all day. When I ask teachers, if I do a focus group on teachers, what stresses you out about your job? Is it the kids? No, I love the freaking kids. Why do you think I got into this? I'm tired of the parents. I'm tired of my principal. I'm not allowed to teach. They tell me what I have to teach and how I teach. Okay. Realtors get into this because they want to make a lot of money. partially, but they also want to meet people and have a good time. And then they join a brokerage and they tell them, call 100 people a day, get one appointment, you got a coin toss. You might get it, you might not. I believe my agents are more happy because no agent has ever told me, oh my God, I'm sick of listing houses. That's untrue. I have had some agents tell me that, but it's not until they list like 40 or 50 a year. Okay. That's when I'm kind of getting tired of listing houses. Okay. And it's like I'm a little burnout, which is why do you think we started franchising? Okay. Go recruit agents and let them do it. Teach them our ways.
I was wondering if you had a team model. So part of the Redfin question, it's kind of funny
It's
because
hard.
where you started with your journey and your why, you got that with a 6% realtor. I can guarantee you every Redfin listing client is getting that same shuffle round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you already know it. So
Yeah.
to reduce the burnout, like for instance, myself, I am trying to focus more on listings. I've been heavy buyers for a long time, and I want a buyer's agent, so I have to do all that.
No,
so
I
for
get it.
me, I know I can do that.
So
With certain
I met
amounts
with,
of-
so here's where the teams work and here's where they don't. I met with one of the biggest teams in a market, and I was pitching him this. And the reason is because my neighbor used him to sell, and he's like, man, he would love this. I was like, cool, set up a meeting. So he set up a meeting. This dude was one of the biggest team leaders in a major metropolitan area. And I was like, dude, he is not going to love this. But I went in and pitched it anyways. And you know what he said? He said, I'd make more money doing it your way. And I said, okay, why? He said, I'd go from 40 or 50 listings to like 400, and I'd have like 40 or 50 buyer's agents. I'd make so much mailbox money. It's stupid. I was like, okay, why aren't you going to do it? He's like, I kind of have a vested interest in an office and I can't leave. But even he admitted it. Okay, I can make more money doing it this way. And so what Deborah's getting at is like, well, yeah, they think I've got to work just as hard to get a listing. No, you don't. You don't. I get listing requests from around the freaking country. You know, people just reaching out to me. You know what makes your people loyal? It's not a football schedule. It's you saved me a lot of money and did a great job. Now here's all my friends and family. That's what makes people loyal. My typical agent sees their production explode 200, 300% the first year they grow. And by year 2, year 3, they do not have time to do lead gen. If you don't believe me, go ask any of my top producers. Do you have time to do lead gen? Hell no. I don't spend money on marketing and I don't have time to do lead gen. I don't have time. But the problem with the teams is those buyer's agents will start to realize, I can get listings. Why the hell am I working for you? I can get as many listings as I want. You know, and I already work with buyers. That's where we recruit agents from, is we go talk to the buyer's agents on all these different teams. And we say, hey, do you want to learn how to list houses? I can show you how to list houses. You're not allowed to do it now. And then you're going to keep like 85% of your buyer revenue. Like, you in? Hell yeah, I'm in. Let's go learn that. You know? Questions? I'm in the convincing the world I exist business. And so because of that, that's why we provide free graphic design services. That's why minority owner of our company is a digital marketing company. So basically, I have a guy who literally wrote national NAR MLS policies. He was a realtor since he was 20, that now owns a real estate company with international clients that he represents doing digital marketing. And so he's a small owner of our company because I'm in the letting the world know I exist business. Okay. Right. It's literally just everybody look at me for a second. And every time realtors talk bad about us, it helps.
Well, I always find it interesting that realtors are always like, know your value, know your value. Mm-hmm. And I've always been under the premise that, I mean, look at a doctor, a lawyer, like anybody else you hire, right? The longer they've been in the business, the more experience they have, often the more they can charge. So I find it interesting that we value in this industry an agent with fresh out of school that's never sold a dang house or written a contract the same commission wise that we value somebody who's been in the industry 25 years.
It makes it hard for the Mercedes agents to be a Mercedes because they're surrounded by ducks. They're surrounded by Chevys.
So what do you think makes a Mercedes agent that someone should, you're getting value at 6% because they're a Mercedes. What do you think makes a Mercedes agent?
There's two things. One is something that we are lacking on, and it's just part of our business model. And that is the overwhelming warm and fuzzies. Okay. So like literally the last part of my listing presentation is this. I go straight into communication and I tell them straight up, and y'all might think I'm crazy, but this is the last thing I say. You are not hiring your best friend right now. Okay. I tell them you are hiring me, and I make the argument my agents are better. I think we're better than everybody else. And they say, how are you better? You charge less money. I'm worried I'm going to get less service. And I tell them, if you want somebody to call you every day and say, oh my God, my coffee's wonderful, the sky is blue, do you hear my birds chirping? You're not hiring us. Okay. That's the agents doing one deal a year, one deal a quarter. Okay. They're going to make you feel great, but they're not going to know the market. And they're not going to know what the hell they're doing. If you do one deal a quarter, you don't know what the hell you're doing. My agents are busy doing deals. We are doing CMAs every day. We are looking at contracts every day. Okay. Agents compare themselves to doctors. Would you want a doctor that sees 4 patients a year? Probably not. They're going to be COVID. What's COVID? Hang on. I've never heard of it. Is this new? Okay. I don't know. I haven't seen a client since 2021. Okay. I'm sorry. You need to do your job. You need to do it often. And we cannot design an industry designed around paying huge fees so the ones that are only doing 4 or 5 deals can survive. And people have made that argument to me. What are the agents doing 4 or 5 deals going to do? They're not going to make it. Good.
Oh.
They shouldn't. They're handling people's huge transactions. You shouldn't make it. You just shouldn't. And so, it's just a different strategy. It's a different mindset. But I tell them, if I have something to chase, I'm going to chase the hell out of it, and you're going to hear from me nonstop, or I'm going to call you and tell you, your listing's stale. We need to do something. And oftentimes, you know what it is? Increase the buyer's agent commission. Little bit of price decrease, increase buyer's agent commission. Okay. Because that's what motivates agents to sell houses. It just is. And so, I make the argument that what we're giving is better. Now, it's not that warm and fuzzy calling me everyday value, but it's tools, it's options, it's choices. It's everything. Other pushbacks? Got 17 more minutes for y'all to grill me, and I feel like I've been talking the whole time. So start ripping me apart.
So the biggest pushbacks that I have, it's really not what you're saying. It's not even what I'm thinking. It's what I've seen in my market. Mm-hmm. I'm in Dallas, Fort Worth. I know a guy, huge, used to be a KW mega agent, Forbes list, went off on his own. He's mainly off market wholesale, but he still keeps his retail. And for a while, he did flat fees. I can't remember what it was, but I believe it was $5,000 at closing or $3,000 up front, and it was good for that. And he got rid of it. There was another company, billboards all over Dallas. I think they're gone. I may be wrong, but they were $5,000 flat fee, and they just didn't make it.
It doesn't work sometimes.
Yeah, I'm saying it doesn't work sometimes, and it sounds to me like you figured out a lot of the difference.
You're not make you giggle? I can make you giggle on demand right now. You ready? I'm about to hit your giggle button.
What you got?
I tried to find you on MySpace, but I couldn't find you. So I looked you up on Facebook, and there you were. But I guess social media is just flawed because, dude, your MySpace is just non-existent.
I mean, Uber was somebody else's idea 400 times before they executed it right. It appears you're executing it right. And
there's something to be said for execution.
Absolutely.
And look, most people that go down this road, when they start figuring out how to make money, they're like, hell yeah, I'm making money. I'm making great money. I'm going to go buy a vet. I'm going to get me a bass boat. You know what I said? I'm going to hire me some more nerds. I'm going to bring me on a graphic designer, and we're going real estate, website version 2.0, 3.0, 4.0.
Right.
I now have 30 franchise locations, and I have not taken a penny out of the company. It's all growth. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to be Amazon one day. I'm sure I'm not. But that's kind of the mindset that they took is, hey, if we can survive, we're going to survive, and we're going to keep doing. Like, this is a listing agreement that I just did, and it's because I'm going to still keep doing deals, because if not, I got to take money out of this and slow it down, and I'm not going to slow it down. I want to speed up. That's a conscious choice that most people don't make.
Do you feel like you have a contentious working relationship with other realtors in your market because they don't like what you're doing?
Well, one of them called me a prostitute 3 days ago.
I saw it. I saw that. So I'm just wondering, like, when you obviously we're working deals across the table with other agents, and if they already just have in general a bad taste in their mouth about you and your business model, I wonder how that affects actual deals transacting.
So part of our training is you're not allowed to be limited service. I think where most agents stress out, I think most agents will stress out in 2 ways. One would be a philosophical one, and that I can't help. If you're morally and philosophically opposed to what I do and you just hate my guts, regardless of us doing a deal or not, then I mean, that is what it is. But I train my agents personally across the country. I have video content all over everywhere, how to do a CMA, how to do this, listing process from first meeting to close, buyer process from first meeting to close. Like, our agents, they get thrown to the wolves in a hurry. They better learn how to sink or swim, because, you know, they're not going to do a deal in March and then forget how to do a deal in August. I mean, they're going to be doing deals. And so I think what most agents want is professionalism. I feel like there's a lot of agents who don't do as many deals that feel like they're not doing their job unless they're fighting with you. My agents are not trained to fight, but they're trained to fight well if they have to fight. I believe the number one thing that our clients want is, number one, what's their bottom line, but number two, they want a deal to go smooth. They do not want a deal to blow up. That having a deal blow up is more scary to a client than losing an extra $1,000 in inspections, in my mind. Okay, I think most people think that. And so at the end of the day, my agents are trained to avoid the speed bumps, make things go smooth, and be nice. Now they're going to fight for their client. They're going to leverage everything they can to get every penny out of you, but they're going to do it in a nice way. And they don't hate your guts. In fact, they were you probably recently. You know,
I was just thinking,
So just
with what you said
depends,
earlier,
Deborah.
that most agents probably like you if they're getting over a 3% buyer's agent commission.
They're not getting over 3. And I mean, we're typically at 2.5.
2.5.
But that's because in New Orleans it's 2, and that's like our big market. And
Yeah, we got big prices out there.
yeah, for the most part, it's 2.5 everywhere. That's our average, but in some places it's 3. And as you know, the market has slowed, we're pushing 2.5, 3.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing I'm seeing. Like, everyone's talking about, you know, the suppression of commissions on the buyer's agent side. And so I think a lot of people are stuck in this mindset. Well, if I get a listing, that's my opportunity to make money because I'm controlling the commission and not allowing a listing agent to say I'm only getting 2 or only getting 2.5, which maybe is creating even more pushback against listing at a lower percent, because they're like, hey, if I own the listing, that's my chance to make money.
No,
I don't know.
I agree. If I could sit down in front of every seller, because what we're seeing a lot is we're seeing agents that are discounting buyer side to compete with us. And if I could sit down in front of the public and tell them, you realize this open house that your agent is telling you they got to charge you extra money for, that's why they got to be paid more than the buyer's agent. They're going to be passing out their business cards and knocking on your neighbor's doors. They're not trying to sell your house. Look at this magazine. They are pushing themselves. They're not pushing you. They are using you to market them. Okay. And the public is slowly but surely figuring that out. And so
who's the prostitute in that situation?
yeah, I mean, and so the public is slowly but surely figuring that out. And so when you think about it, my job, my responsibility, aside from training agents, opening offices, and all this stuff, is to touch that nerve on the public and just sit there and tap on that nerve all day long and just annoy the piss out of them, and then just let them know I exist. And so my job is to convince the public that agents don't have all these magical abilities that they say they have, and they're overpriced, and they're not doing a good enough job, and their hearts are not in the right place. Y'all just need to convince the world you're worth your 6%. I mean, why do you think I'm growing? It's a lot easier. It's an easier hurdle for me to convince the world I exist. It's easy when somebody's about to give you 6% of the value of the house to say, God, that's a lot. You know, that's what they used to get in 1885 when realtors first came out. They were getting shot by Indians and bit by rattlesnakes on the plains. How the hell are we still there? But we are.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense too from some standpoint of maybe like, if something does not go perfect, if someone isn't paying top dollar for something, they're more willing to deal with it. It's like my TV service. Like I pay like $60 for 6 months of internet or for internet TV. Well, if one channel's not working one day, like for the price, I'm okay with it. I'm not paying $200 a month and expecting it. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to serve your clients to the highest ability, but it's like, oh, if I missed your email and didn't respond in 10 minutes, or if, there's that less demand for perfection, I think too. And maybe that's why your agents are happier is because, people are kind of.
And you almost feel like you have to overpromise and underdeliver, and it's like you're going to hoodwink them. So if you want to look at something interesting, you might have seen this thing before, 183 things a realtor does for their client. You ever seen that?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. So let's extrapolate that and put that into restaurant terms. 183 things your restaurant does for you. Your hostess sits you down. Bro, Jeff, do you see you're sitting in a chair? Bro, you got a table to eat at. I'm going to give you your food on a clean plate. Not just that. Hang on, but wait, there's more. Silverware, clean. Okay? You need a napkin? Bro, I'm going to bring it. I'm gonna clean this cup before I put your drink in it. I might even bring you a refill. Our food, dude, we are gonna cook it for you. Look at all this value I'm adding. No, I'm sorry, that's not a value add. It's called running a restaurant. Getting in your car and pressing the skinny pedal to go to a listing presentation is not the number one thing that you do for your clients. That's not a value add. It's what you expect. If you're a surgeon just before you're gonna go under, because all we realtors or surgeons says, bro, just for you, I'm not going to use the rusty scalpel. You're going to be like, good.
Appreciate that.
Less.
It's true. It's so true because I see those lists sometimes of like my 83-point marketing plan, and it's like sticking a sign in your front yard, and like it's so basic that I'm like, these clients have to read this and be like, really, like this is. What on this sheet is actually better than what any other agent would do? Like it's all kind of the same,
It's fluff.
Mhm.
It's all just fluff.
It is.
Yeah.
So basically, if I figured out how to do anything, and you guys live in other states, can't really join.
Yeah.
I figured out how to get agents to preach this message and make more money than they used to make. Spend more time. I did a podcast with April Horn, and she's a real estate coach. And I said something to her that blew her mind. What I said to her was this: I said, my agents spend more time doing income producing work and less time looking for it. And she's like, wait, what? Like, yes. If realtors stopped looking at their check per deal and started looking at their time invested or money invested to get it, they would realize they are discount agents.
Absolutely. I totally
You just are.
For a fact.
You just are. So basically, I'm trying to convince the realtor world, go list more homes, charge less money to do it. Make your clients feel happy with you. Make them feel like your heart's in the right place. Just do a great job and save them money. You will make more money than you've ever made before because they will send you so much business you won't know what to do with it. And I can show you ton of agents that have done exactly that. Now, are they busier? Sure. Are they looking for deals? Absolutely not. Are they going to have a dry month? Nope. No dry months. We're closing something every single month. A lot of months we're closing a lot of somethings.
Well, and that's what I've noticed too. Like, I've had some sick family members and then, a house remodel that's way behind and taking all my time, and 4-year-old and changing schools and all of this. And it's like one of the first things to go in that, right, is the lead generation and prospecting time, because if I have a current client that has needs, I have to continue to service that. So it's like all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, I've had all these things distracting me. I haven't been chasing those leads. And then you suffer from that dry month or that worry. And, so it's obviously you want to create a business, however that is, where the leads are just coming to you and you're not having to spend the time doing that. And
for the agents who figure that out, charging 6%, God bless you. You don't need me. Okay. That's the true Mercedes-Benz agents. For the agents who haven't figured that out yet, you get ready to outwork me. or outspend me, because that's the only way you're going to win. And to give you an idea, like, so this is a true story. We had this guy, his name is Anthony. He was a physical therapy tech, never been in sales before. So basically he's helping a physical therapist all day long. I got him an apartment in Baton Rouge. I gave him an allowance. Okay. So literally he was costing me $2,000 a month to live in Baton Rouge. This is when we first expanded into another market. We basically brought him on and we trained him to do one thing, which is call for sale by owners. Now, immediately he was awful because he's never even been in sales before. He would call people like, hey, is your house still available? Yeah, my poor mom up in Iowa, she's really sick and we got to get this house sold. Okay, great. I'm like, no, dude, not okay, great. That's okay, awful. His mom's sick and he needs to get his house sold, and it's not okay, great that it's not sold. Okay, but eventually we got him better and better and better. And what he started doing was saying, if you could hire a full service agent for 1%, would you like help? And then just manage the disagreements, manage the objections. One of the first things he did was go walk around one of the most expensive neighborhoods in Baton Rouge, putting out door hangers. And somebody from the ferry organization took a picture of it and put it on social media and tagged a bunch of people. And I was like, thank you. You did me a huge favor. Okay. And Anthony finished his first year, number 45 agent in Greater Baton Rouge, out of about 6,000 from a freaking studio apartment, where I joked that we were going to start a fraternity because it's right beside LSU. I mean, he killed it, because he's just out there just offering something different. He's being that loud honking goose. Does anybody have any? Go ahead.
Do you think this only works from like a company brand? I mean, the name of your company is 1% List. So, anyone who sees that. Or do you think that there is a potential for an agent just in their own branding to create that type of trust and following in their market?
I think it's possible. So there's a lot of agents from your company that do this around the country. Mm-hmm. Exactly what I do. I've got an agent waiting to open an Orange County, California office. Seattle was from your company. I mean, Icons. And so basically the thing you run into is this. Unless you're running a really remote cloud brokerage, there will be mutiny at a local office if somebody starts doing this and it's allowed. So that's first of all. They could do it, but they got to do it on the down low and they can't market it. If they market it, then they got a problem. Because then it's like, do I want to lose all my top producers charging high fees so I think I can keep this one weirdo who wants to charge low fees? No. And so they wind up, oftentimes, unless they get a very open-minded broker, they wind up moving on, switching to a cloud-based brokerage where they can literally do whatever they want. But my point to them is, okay, you're trying to do this under somebody else's brand. What if you owned the brand in your market? And what if the CEO and his entire team in your country was designed how to fully embrace this message and see how loud we can get, as opposed to tolerating it if you're quiet? Because I've been doing the business model basically this way since 2012, but it wasn't until it started working, keeping it quiet, that everybody complained. And then once everybody complained, that's when I said, screw y'all, I'm going to be loud. And that's when it went bonkers, because I just decided I was going to let everybody know. So yeah, it can be done. There's a lot of successful people doing it. But if you're going to dive in, as opposed to dip your toe in the water and sometimes charge less, if you're going to truly dive in, it needs to fully encompass you. And be everything.
There's a guy in Albuquerque, New Mexico that has done this for years. He does not market it. You don't know it anywhere. But once you start getting in the business and you're doing deals and you see the settlement statements, his listing is always at 1%. It's always at 1%. But he owns the luxury market. He owns the $1 million plus market. If there's a home,
what's his name?
Huh?
What's his name?
Joe Maze.
Joe, M-A-Z-E?
M-A-E-Z.
M-A-E-Z.
M-A-E-Z. Joe Maze, the Maze Group. Yep. And he does 1%. He owns his own brokerage, whatever, but like he gets the $1 million plus market all the time. He drives a Lambo and a Ferrari and all this kind of stuff, and he's in that lifestyle. But like you were kind of saying, okay, his list, his signs are all the $1 million houses. Well, who does that attract? The $1 million buyers. And so he's, he has been the luxury agent in Albuquerque for years. And I never, until I got into the business, and like I said, I did a couple deals with him as a buyer's agent. And it doesn't matter. I mean, he does other listings. I think the one that I sold was like 360,000, that I worked with, the first one I worked with him on, and his listing was still 1% at that price, and he just, but he doesn't, there's nothing, you will not see that in his marketing. So it must just be maybe word of mouth in that community, hire him, he's become the expert, or he just started out doing that, people called him, and then he just got the, the reputation that he could handle the $1 million deals. So,
well, to quote Jack Nicholson from Batman, wait till you get a load of me. I'm gonna call him and be like, hey, bro, you want to throw a lot of gas on this fire? And look, there's a lot of people who say, well, you're never going to get buyers because it's 1% list. Yes, I will. I could call this, it's going to be crude, I could call it piece of shit realty. And when I walk through your door and you trust me and you like me, you're good. There's one real estate company that does what we do called happy endings. Okay. I mean, you do whatever you want with this,
Right.
The point is when they know you, see you, and trust you, they like you. And whatever brokerage you're under, unless it has a unique value proposition, they don't care about that.
Right.
They care about you. Any other pushbacks? I gave y'all all night to come up with objections to rip my guts out. And the earlier class did not. I call this class, not class. The earlier folks not.
I really thought about it, but it's tough, man. It's tough to object to. I get it as the realtor community 6%. No, looking at the other way, it's hard to.
Right.
I think the main objections, I think the main objections for me and for what I've seen for most realtors is that I don't want to be known as a discount agent, right? I don't want to be known as I think they think you're discounting your self-worth. I think it's just an emotional attachment to your self-worth. Let's be honest, a lot of people put value on their
Does it say something about our industry? I'll let you collect your thoughts. Does it say something about our industry that we are obsessed with the sizes of checks, not what we make on an annual basis? And
we are obsessed with the size of checks, and we are obsessed how it looks to other people in the industry, right?
It's like
and
Real Housewives of the real estate industry is what this is.
100%.
The most superficial shit in the world we're going to obsess over.
Right. And because it is kind of like a tight community where everybody kind of knows each other, everybody talks about each other to people, it's like you don't want your reputation amongst your peers to be tarnished, even if it's in the best interest of your client for whatever reason. It's, and so I think that's hard.
Do you think we're limited service? After talking to me, do you think we're limited service? Do you think my average agent is worse than any other agent?
No.
Okay. Do you think we're actually saving our people money, or do you think the situation where if somebody would have paid 6%, they would have got way better offers and they're just leaving money on the table? Because some people make that argument.
I'll make that argument about Redfin, but not about you.
Okay. So from that standpoint, if you do that, now then it's a whole nother leap to think you're going to make more money doing it this way. And I can understand where some people just can't make that leap because they can't understand how they've been working so hard to get deals and now they're going to come easy. But what they don't understand is they have a massive sphere of influence who would be 150% loyal to you if there was a reason to be. But there's not.
Fans.
Right. There's not. So that's what it typically boils down to is they just can't believe it. Even if I can show it to them, even if I pull up Market View Broker and show them stats, if I tell them to call that agent, say, what was life like here and what is it now? And they tell them that, they still just can't get it. Like they refuse to. Or it's like I had a franchise owner who was all in love with it until somebody called me a prostitute. And my agent's prostitutes, and it went mini viral here locally. And she's like, I just don't want to be hated.
That's
like, what about your clients? Where do your clients' opinions fit into this? And it doesn't, because how we feel about each other is more important. And I think that's a residual of agents saying pick the best headshot and don't you love my logo and my brand, because we so much care what we think about each other. And we do not care what the public thinks about us. I made a post on Real Estate Mastermind saying, why not ask the public how they feel? And they're like, why would I do that? I'm like, am I living in the Twilight Zone?
I apologize. I have to run because I got to meet a seller in 9 minutes. Luckily, they
Go
live.
do your thing, buddy. This was a pleasure.
But, well, thank you so much, very much. Likewise.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for yours. Thanks, Deborah. Bye-bye.
What about you, Deborah? I mean, do you agree with me on that or not really?
I do. Yeah, I do. I think often as agents, I mean, I'm not saying I try not to, but I think there's a lot of agents that are always worried about their paycheck instead. I mean, there's been agents that I know all the time that you don't want to pay me 6%. I won't even I'll walk. I won't take your listing. And it's like, I mean, if there's another reason you think they're going to be difficult or there's some other reason, they're being abusive or hateful or something, fine.
yeah.
But I just, it's interesting that so many people are like you said. I mean, I work a lot of referrals and I'll take those referrals all day long. Well, what if the deal was just coming to me at a lower
You know what's
amount?
funny? I'm gonna show you this. There's a group. There's two ladies out of Arizona. I'm gonna look them up, who send me emails continually offering me 50% referral fees on buyers. They're called like the luxury group of something. They're in Flagstaff, I want to say.
Oh,
God, who is this? I have to look them up. But anyways, they hit me up all the time. Okay. And so I got on a call with one of them and they thought I was crazy. Like, why would you do this? I'm like, well, why are you offering 50% referral fees for the shitty deals? Why
Right.
do that? And they're like, oh no, what do you mean? This is great. Like they couldn't see
Yep.
it at all.
yeah. Because that's not discounting because the commission is still the 6 and they're just taking 50% of it.
Because we're keeping the fee high.
Right. Right. And we're just sharing the wealth amongst realtors rather than the client.
It hurts my soul, man. I don't know. It's interesting.
Okay.
I can remember a thread on Real Estate Mastermind where somebody posted that they got their first 6% listing and everybody chiming in saying, oh, that's awesome. I can teach you how to get 7.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, I know. I've in a private chat with some people in my company, and the one girl, she apparently lists at 7% all the time. And she's like, if you're not doing this, like you're leaving money on it. And I'm like, hey, like we said, right? Like if you can get it and your clients feel good about it and that business model works for you and you're offering something good for you. But I don't think the majority of agents, especially in today's landscape, can operate under that, or what are they getting, 2 listings a year? I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot to go through to find the people that are willing to pay that. So
It's depressing. Well,
yeah.
I so much appreciate your time. This was very, very cool. And are there people in your market doing what I do?
I believe so. Yes, they don't market it, but yes, I believe so from what I can get from it. I think that they're maybe doing a lot of them. I think are doing like 2 on the list side and 2.5 on the buy side.
Right.
So still trying to save the client a little bit of money, but yeah, it's like they're toggling that line between just going all the way and just saying like this is it, and then
They want to hold back the hope of getting a much higher fee, but push comes to shove, they'll do it.
For sure.
And
sure.
I talked to a guy one time. He said, I want the best commission available. That's what I want. If it's 1, I'm taking 1. If it's 3, 4, I'm taking it. And I can understand that to some degree. My philosophy is what happens if you go all in on client satisfaction and you just go with a low number. Like what? And I'm not saying that's the only way, but I'm saying it's a way, and it's a legitimate way, and it's a reasonable way to make money. And I'm not going broke.
Right. Well, I just wonder too, like if you get a lot of business and a lot of people start talking or even writing reviews, like what happens if people start finding out, well, wait, he charged me 3%. He only charged you 1. That kind of pisses me off. I want a refund. Or why'd you do that? And then it kind of almost seems like, oh, snake in the grass. Like you are just there to strike when the money's there. And then, yeah. So there's
that.
perspective all the way around. Yeah. So,
Gotcha.
Okay.
Well, hopefully this gave you some insight anyways. If you're dealing with a company like mine, it actually gave you an idea how we think and what we do.
well, and I hope it was helpful for you and your franchise owners for sure. So,
Tremendously, because most of them will fall flat on their face the moment they try to have this conversation because they've never had it before. And I've been arguing this for 6 years now. So
right.
I'm kind of used to it, but I very, very much appreciate your time. And until I have somebody out there, whatever I get in your market, I'm going to send you anyways.
All right. Send them over. I appreciate it.
Have a great day. Thank you so much for your
All right,
time.
thanks. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.